Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to dive into my 3 favorite exercises that you need to be doing for bigger, better quads. First and foremost, if you've not already liked the video, do that right now. Please subscribe to the channel if you are a fan, or if you're here for the first time, please go do so. It helps me out a lot. Without further ado, we'll dive into my favorite exercises, the hack squat. The hack squat would be the gold standard to me for challenging the quads in a deep squat pattern. So really, I want to zoom out because I want to have this ability to look at why we're choosing these exercises and be able to use that reasoning to make better decisions in the gym. So choosing the hack squat, we're looking for a squatty squat pattern. What does that sound stupid, right? Squatty squat. I'm looking for a torso or pelvis and torso that can remain relatively vertical or straight up and down. Moving more vertical, straight up and down, I have to get a lot of knee flexion. I have to get a lot of forward knee travel. Things that are going to be getting a lot of tension through my quads and making sure that they're going to be the more prime or dominant movers in the movement. So looking for that. And I really specify that because if we had free weight, for example, goblet squat, back squat, front squat, just because we're doing a squat doesn't mean that a squat or all squats are created equal, right? All squats are not created equal. I could be doing a goblet squat and I am, bending my chest over to the ground. My knees aren't really pushing forward in space at all. I could even be setting up in a hack squat or a pendulum squat where my feet are way too high and I'm not getting a lot of forward knee travel. I want to look at the greater principles here so we can apply these principles to another exercise like a split squat variation or even trying to set up more of a quad bias leg press, right? So really we're looking for honing in on what a squat pattern is. So vertical pelvis, vertical torso, lots of forward knee travel. I like the hack squat or a pendulum squat because we're going to get a lot of external stability, and also the constraints in the machine are going to kind of shove us into the path that we want to actually stay more vertical or get a squattier squat. Now, substitutions. If we are in a gym, doesn't have a hack squat, doesn't have a pendulum squat, my best advice is go to a new gym that has one. No. What else can we do? Well, using those same principles, maybe I could rig up a leg press to be more of a quad focused leg press. Maybe I could actually do a heels elevated Smith machine squat. Probably a great option. Now, I say that after the hack squat and the pendulum squat because there is going to be a bit of a harder time rigging yourself into the Smith squat. We don't have the back support on those on the Smith machine that we have on the hack squat and the pendulum squat, which is why I would kind of add some bonus points to the hack squat and the pendulum squat. We have more external stability, but we could definitely still utilize the Smith machine as a backup option. If we don't have that, we'll get into one of my exercises down the road that we'll save towards the end and some ways to rig that up. Now, getting into the second option, quad extension, right? No shit. The quad extension is probably one of the best ways to isolate the quads in knee extension. Rip those things, right? Quad extensions have a super low barrier of entry. Almost anybody can get into the gym, get on a quad extension and take it to the house. Pair that with a squattier squat machine variation like a hack squat or a pendulum squat. That's really all that we need from more of a hypertrophy standpoint. Now, that's where we're going to get into the caveat being, actually, I'm going to go back. Quad extensions are not bad for performance for an athlete. Maybe I still want to make sure my knees are nice and strong. As long as I'm doing things that are integrating that into performance as well, I'm doing just fine strengthening my knee and growing my quads. Also in a rehab setting, that's one of the best exercises I can use, right? I can train my quads in isolation to strengthen the knee joint. No shit, right? It's an awesome option. TKEs, quad extensions, which one would I rather pick? I probably would rather pick the quad extension, right? Because it's more loadable. The last option I'm going to get into, last exercise, is going to be a rear foot elevated split squat. Bulgarians are sick. We could argue, well, Nick, for hypertrophy, we want to maximize external stability and we don't want it to be unstable, yada, yada. I actually want this to be a bit unstable. I want to challenge our ability to create a lot of internal stability on this exercise. Now, we can do this to be a bit more quad, a bit more glute. I don't care if we're actually setting up in a way where we're getting a fair bit of glutes out of this, even if I'm trying to do this more for quads. I'm trying to challenge hip function, make sure my hips are moving good. I can get full hip internal rotation. I can get length in my glutes. Things that are gonna help my knee upstream. A lot of knee issues come from an inability for us to move well through our hips and also an inability for us to move well below the knees. So we can't maintain adequate foot pressure. We can't move to the foot. We can't rotate the shins very well. Those are things that we're gonna look at when we're kind of assessing knee dysfunction or knee pain. That's why I like the rear foot elevated split squat. And I put that last because there's a caveat to it. Maybe not my first option, but also, guys, if we're training this hard and we're getting good at this, we're gonna get quad hypertrophy as well. So it's a great exercise. It's hard. Getting good at training hard is probably a pretty good thing if we want results in any part of training. Looking at similar principles, again, we want to make sure that we're getting forward knee travel. Obviously, there's going to be a trade-off for the amount of internal stability we have to create because of the lack of external stability, but us being able to create more internal stability under a large amount of load, we can load Bulgarians pretty well when we get good at them. That's only going to carry over better to us actually having higher outputs when we are in presence of external stability, right? If I can internally stabilize myself well without external stability, I sure as shit can do it well with external stability. So really we're looking here at that principle, as well as just kind of keeping the wheels on the bus, making sure that I'm doing the things above the knee and below the knee to stay healthy. But those are the 3 exercises that I would be choosing if I had to pick only 3 for quads. And those are 3 that almost every person in the gym should be doing. Again, hack squat, kind of look at the principles of the squat pattern, more vertical hips and torso, getting good forward knee travel, maintain full foot pressure. The quad extension, isolating knee extension, rip that shit to the house. And then Bulgarian split squats, looking at maintaining function at the hip and really just having to cue internal stability or challenge internal stability to make sure that we are just highly functioning individuals and we can express that better in presence of external stability. So that's a wrap there. If I have any exercises that I missed, or if you guys have any that I missed, put them down below. Let me know. Please like, please subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you guys soon.